We're about to take a look at 5 new Greenlee tools here today. Now, I just opened them up. Some of them are newer to the market. Some of them are pretty old. So we're going to go over the ones first that I'm the most interested in, that I haven't seen people talking about, and I don't know why, because they look fantastic. They feel good so far. We're going to cover all the things that I like about them, where I think they fit, all that good stuff, let you guys see all the details so you can see if it's something that you actually want to try out or not. And I'll give you guys a little bit of my experience with this style of plier. We'll save the ones that are older in the market for last. Just give you guys my opinion on them since we have them here today. We just got them, just opened them up. But let's go ahead and hop into it. Now, I've got a bunch of electrical tools from Greenlee. These are all going to be hand tools. But first and foremost are these water pump pliers here. You guys, I love this style of plier so much. So I was very excited to see an American company come out with something like this. It's been out for a while. I just got my hands on it. Now, I love the push button, and the push button allows for something so fantastic, and it's consistency. That means when you adjust your pliers to that size, that way when you're running a specific size of conduit all day, you can set it and it stays there and it's done. The other thing that's great about it is it's super, super adjustable. You see all these teeth in here. Those are all different sizes, so you can have it exactly the size that you want it. Now, another great thing that I love to see from Greenlee is how thin they made this head. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys to death with this, but basically, the less area there is to put pressure on, the more pressure is put. When they're wider, there's a lot more surface area for you to put pressure on, so you have to squeeze harder. Also, it helps you fit into tighter spots. Also, it's lighter, which is very important if you're going to be using them all day. You don't want something incredibly heavy. If you can cut off however much of the jaw here from side to side and make it thinner, it's going to make it a lot easier to use, a lot more maneuverable, just overall more functional. Another thing that not everyone and their mother knows is with this style of jaw, with it being curved like that, the teeth are a lot more aggressive. That means you get a better grip on your pipe. So not only is it a smaller area, so you have to put less pressure to get the same amount of pressure, but it also, they're directional teeth. So you can't go backwards with these. You can only go forwards. You can, it's just not as effective. But I actually use the backwards method to deburr the outside of my conduit. With this style of plier, that's incredibly easy, but I'm excited to test out the grip on these to see how it stacks up against other pliers of this style. And you guys, every single tool in this list that we're going to go through here, we're going to test here in the next couple weeks. This included, we're going to put it up against the top dogs in their field for this style of water pump plier with the push button. You guys, we're going to be testing them against Channel Lock, Knipex, all the other brands, Klein, to see how they all stack up and how they rank. Now, personally, they're all great tools. Honestly, I wouldn't put the tools on the channel if I didn't think they were great. So it's going to be a game of small numbers, I would assume. So if you guys are interested in seeing any of these tools tested, you guys sub to the channel for that. Those are coming up here real quick. Now, with the button, I like the green. It says Greenlee on there. It's got the G. It's a nice big button, which is cool. I like that. Now, the handles, I'm not a big dipped handle guy. This is a good dipped handle, though. It's got a lot of texture to it, and I will save all of my breath and my words for all the other ones, you guys. All of their dipped handles have felt amazing so far. I don't prefer the old style because I feel like they get a little slippery when they get oily. I don't like the way they feel in my hand. I prefer a comfort grip handle for something like that. But for their water pump pliers, they have done incredibly well for this. It does have a lot more texture than a traditional dipped handle. Didn't know that until today when I was holding them in my hand. Another thing that I've noticed is the head does seem a little bit bigger, which is great. And when I say bigger, I mean it's a little bit longer this way from where the axis is to the end of the plier. I think that's cool. I think that's going to be very useful. Overall, you guys, this is a great set of pliers. There's no complaints here. The only thing that can happen sometimes with some of these pliers is they will have a very sticky mechanism here. But these are brand new, fresh out of the package. Like I just opened them probably 5 minutes ago. And I'm telling you guys, they slide super easily. So you know when they slide at the beginning that they're not going to get stuck halfway through when you're working and you have oil on them and all that other garbage and debris and junk. So definitely a super cool method. I switched over to this style of plier 4 years ago, and I've never looked back since. I will never use tongue and groove pliers again. There's just no need when something like this is so much better for utility. It's a lot easier on your workflow, which is super important. And I cannot wait to test these out to see what the grip strength is like on them. From previous experience with similar pliers, I'm going to assume that it's just phenomenal and amazing. So definitely don't understand why I've only seen these a couple of times on other people's socials. This seems like a pretty amazing set of pliers here. And I can't figure out why, for the life of me, more people haven't been talking about it. Another set of pliers here from Greenlee. You guys, these are their wire strippers. These are the Pro Plus. I'll leave a link in the description for all of this stuff. So if I'm saying it wrong, I'll have the correct link in the description. But the reason why I like these, for one, the dipped handle. Again, the dipped handle feels good. I don't traditionally like dipped handles, so it's harder to find good wire strippers like this that I actually will use. It does have a curve to it, as you guys can see on the bottom here. I actually like the black and green look too. It looks pretty sweet. Pretty big fan of that so far. Definitely cool. Now, the thing that I like these wire strippers for is they have a crimper in the bottom for insulated and non-insulated, which is cool. I don't crimp a ton. It does, however, go down to 6 gauge solid and 8 gauge stranded, which is a nice thing for me because typically I end up using 10 stranded for lighting circuits for commercial and industrial work. And so what happens is a lot of the nicer wire strippers with the nice handles and all that other stuff, they don't actually go down to 10 stranded. They only go down to 10 solid, 12 stranded, which becomes an issue. Now, I can get away with stripping stuff with my linemans or my diagonal cutters or whatever, but I really prefer to have a set of strippers, and that's why I picked this set up here from Greenlee. You guys, these are also going to get tested to the cut force, how much it takes to strip wire with them, all of that fun stuff. But as far as the ergonomics go, the utility of them go, you guys, I would say they are a pretty solid set of wire strippers. They also have the threaded bolt cutters for the 632 and the 832, which I really like to have on my strippers. I know some people like the ones that have the threadless bolt cutters. However, I find it very useful when I need to re-thread some of the screws, because the worst thing in the world is when device screws mess up and then you're sitting there without a 632 or an 832 and you ran out, whatever. I like to be able to rethread them, and this gives you the ability to rethread them with the bolt threaders there. So for the bolt cutters, but you have the threads in there for 6 and for 832. You also have a hook, a wire hook there. That way you can put a loop in your wire. That way you can wrap it around your screw. So that part of it's cool as well. Super functional. The spring is hefty, I will say. Definitely got quite a bit of force there. A really big, solid locking mechanism, which I like. I know some people get rid of their springs and their locking mechanisms on their strippers. I don't like to alter my strippers or any of my tools that much. It's really kind of a weird thing. I know you would think somebody in this field would just not care at all. When it comes to equipment, I'm fine with it. But when it comes to stuff like the actual tool, I really just prefer to leave it however it was made and intended to be used. So that part is cool, but definitely something to check out. So that way you guys have a larger wire stripper that also strips regular gauge wire as well. So cool stripper here. And you guys might have noticed a little watch on my wrist. This is from DIY Watch Club. If you guys are looking for a watch, they actually send you a kit and you get to put it together. I was supposed to film the whole thing, and I realized like 30 minutes through that I had just been looking at it and not doing anything with it. The camera, I had just been like putting the watch together. So I missed the entire filming process of me putting this watch together, but it was about a 3-hour project total. Definitely something that I enjoyed doing. It's super cool to know what's inside of this watch. This is the Batman style. I'll leave a link to this in the description, but if you guys are looking for a watch, go check that out from DIY Watch Club. It's fun. Like, it was a cool little project. It's like putting together a toy car, but like much more adult. You know, I actually use it and wear it, and I love this watch, and they got a bunch of different options. Definitely something for you guys to check out. This is another big one this one's been around for a long time. but I just noticed some functionality stuff on it that is super cool. This is their level. It's their 6-inch level. It's got everything that you need. It's got a no dog. It's got obviously 0 and 90 degrees, but it also has 45 and 30. Now, one of the things I really love about this level is that you can view the vials from the top. You can view the 30, 45, and the 0 degrees. So that way you can make sure your stuff is level. And the 0 you can even view from the top as well with the 45, which is phenomenal. What a great feature to have. In the 30 as well. That's crazy. So you can view them from 4 different directions, which is something that I've been missing. I typically use my Klein level, and that's one thing that I didn't know was even an option for you to be able to see it from the top. So that way, if you're bending on the ground, you can actually just pop it up and see it. You don't have to look over to the side. I think that's phenomenal. Gonna have to test out the magnets, see how strong they are. It does come with a flat base. This doesn't have the V line down the middle. It's flat, which is pretty normal, and it's good. I'm sure the magnets are pretty strong. They feel good. It's not going to be an issue, obviously, but we're going to end up testing the magnets out to see what the pull force is to get them all off. Like I said, Battle of the Titans coming up for that. We got a couple of really cool levels, so I'm excited. It is a game of inches, truly, for these top companies, and I can't encourage you guys enough. Whatever you invest in, it really doesn't matter the tool brand. As long as you're investing in a good brand, that's the important part about it, because good tools will last you for a long time, and they'll really, really help make sure that you're having an easier time at work and not getting frustrated because your pliers won't open right, or this or that, or they get rusty, all that good stuff. It does have a V line on the top, so there is a line on the top if you ever need to put it on a piece of conduit or something without the magnets on there. They also have, like I said, the no dog, which is important if you're an electrician, especially if you're running larger conduit. I really just can't get over the functionality of having the bottom open and also the top for you to be able to see those vials without having to, look to the side and do all that other stuff, which doesn't seem like a big deal until you're in a really tight spot, or until I guess you get used to doing this. And then you're like, wait a minute, I don't have to lean over every time. So that part of it is super cool. It comes with a little rope on the front. Another thing, these are 2 things that have been out for forever. I have a set of their linemans here, which are pretty cool. These things feel like hefty, which I'm sure they're the same size. They might be a little bit heavier than what I'm used to, but definitely a super solid set of Greenlee linemans here. They feel just absolutely sturdy. All right, these are the 9-inch linemans. The handles are a big thing that I like, actually. Like I said earlier, green and black, they look good. This is their comfort grip style. I would be curious to see, I probably like their dipped as well, but these feel great. They have a lot of texture to them. They're very soft. It's not a hard plastic. It's really a solid rubber, which is cool. It's got a line down. It looks good. That's important for you people that are like me. But it's also got a fish tape puller in the front, in the middle here, underneath, as well as obviously the cross jaws and all the good stuff. Best hammer that money could buy right here. A lot of weight here, a lot of ability to smoke something, a box, your apprentice, whatever you like to beat. That is a good use for these for sure. Obviously cutting, twisting wires. The handles go up pretty far. There is a little bump up here, which is nice for your hands. So that way when you're trying to maneuver wires a little bit better, you can actually get a little bit of a grip, and it's not just a straight cut. And the handles do go up very high. That part of it is surprising to me, but I'm sure that there's quite a bit of usefulness there when you're trying to be not delicate. What's the word? Precise. Yes, they are not stiff. They're not loose, like you're going to just throw them around and they're going to clank. But some linemans come and they come stiff. Like when you open them up, it's like you kind of have to push. They are stiff, they won't close on their own, but there's no pressure that I need to apply. This is a good level. I like when they open up clanky, you can just throw them around. But this is totally acceptable for any set of linemans. They are not stiff at all. Nobody wants a huge work-in period for their linemans. There's nothing worse than being frustrated, having your workflow interrupted because you're trying to get your linemans open, you have one hand and you're holding something up. All that stuff, you're trying to push all these wires back into a box, whatever it is, You don't want your stuff to be too stiff, even at the beginning, even if it's only for a month. A month is a long time. I've had a couple sets of pliers that even with soaking them in some ballast-tool, it's like they just won't stay loose. So that part of it, I'm a big fan. These feel great. No complaints so far. Like I said, we'll have to get them tested, but really solid set here so far from Greenlee. I'm super impressed with all their stuff, which I am not shocked. Like I said, I've had quite a few of their tools. I've just never had any of their hand tools, and now my eyes are starting to be opened, especially with some of these newer options. These things are cool. These things are going to actually fulfill a good, solid role in my workflow. And next up, last but not least, are their diagonal cutters. You guys, this is the 8-inch pair, and I have to say, the same thing goes for the handles. They look great. They don't go up as high as the linemans, which is good, especially for your diagonal cutters. These are the angled 8-inch diagonal cutters from Greenlee. They feel good so far. They're definitely a little bit stiffer than the linemans, but again, that's totally acceptable. The amount of force that it takes to close those is not anything significant at all. So on some of the cheaper pairs, when you hold them up to the light, you'll actually see light leak through. I'm not squeezing them right now. I see no light leaking through them at all. I just realized I never did that with the linemans. Same thing with the linemans. I've got an incredibly bright light that's staring at me right now for this video. So it would definitely 100% leak through if there were any. So that's good. Obviously, quality control can depend on certain brands and this and that. I've seen it before where they have like little light gaps and it's like, what are you doing? Your big thing is cutting and you're going to have a light gap. Not with these babies. Got the G on the back side here, not on the front. On the front, they have the part number, which is 025108AM. I'll leave a link to all this stuff in the description so you guys can just click on it and it's easy. Overall, super, super impressive lineup here from Greenlee. With this set right here, I could do just about any job outside of what you need for a screwdriver. One multi-driver could fix that. Should have picked one up from them, but I didn't. Regrets. But I will say that these are definitely some quality pliers. I'm super excited to get these on the testing site to see how they stack up against the other ones. I also have known people who use Greenlee and who use their diagonal cutters and their linemans, and they swear by them. One of my first guys that I worked with long ago named Larry, loved Greenlee stuff with a passion. But overall, you guys, just a little recap. This set of water pump pliers here is super cool. If you guys have the funds and want to pick something cool up, this is definitely the thing that I would recommend. Definitely a very viable option for water pump pliers, aka channel locks. We call all of them channel locks where I'm from. Even these, I don't know why they're not even the same style, but the correct term is water pump pliers, and these things right here are absolutely money. This is definitely one of my favorite pairs. Aside from the main pair that I use, I'm very excited to see because they are so much thinner than what we traditionally see here in America. So definitely excited to check all of that out. Now, we did test the best utility knives, so if you guys are interested in that, go ahead, head up to this video here and watch that. Remember, you guys, it's all for his glory, and I'll see you guys on the next one.